sky turned black, the stars fell down. United we stand, but we're losing ground. One world beneath the iron fist, voices silenced, they cease to resist. Echoes of hope in the darkening night, fading whispers of a long lost life. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust, a phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. The sirens wail through the desolate towns, once proud nations painted in the scars of the crown. A single army marching on our dreams, unity forged in despair, or so it seems. Nothing left but shadows drifting away as the last embers of freedom decay. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust, a phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. One global army, together we stand. In the fall of the world, we'll make our last stand.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to, we're going to try a full edition of the Into the Red Rabbit Hole tonight. Internet is definitely cracking and popping. Hey, what would you expect for the American country? You know what I mean? So, that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm not going to be able to go back and forth from the chat. And I'm not using my phone tonight because obviously the Wi-Fi that I'm on is going to be spotty at best. So that being said, I'm going to do the disclaimer and we're going to get into the thick of it. I haven't even really discussed anything about tonight with anybody, including Eric. So I'm going to catch him off guard and see his facial expressions and everything else that goes on when I disclose the theories and the information that I have acquired over the past week or so. So that being said, here's the disclaimer. This channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the Fair Use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk I Strange, this podcast channel, all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content to be used for the purposes of fair use, for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and entertainment value under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as fair use. All right. That being said, intro and outros are solely my creation, so I don't have to get a copyright strike or any claim on those. The music is all mine that we use, and the information that I'm discussing tonight is theory and just plain conversation for you all to basically melt your brains and make you think a little bit. Okay. And what really got me going tonight on this whole subject of wanting to talk tonight about this was in the beginning of the week, I started noticing some things um, with a lot of spiritual leaders. Okay. And I use the air quotes. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there is a lot that humanity has not had the honor or the privilege to have disclosed to them. Okay. And I'm going to get into tonight a little bit about the connection with the water. Okay. Which kind of goes with tomorrow morning's subject at 11 a.m., which is about mirrors. Okay. And steroids being found in the forests and national parks. For those are the two subjects to start tomorrow. Um, but also tonight we're going to get into a lot of the questionable so-called people. One of them with the initials BG, um, and another big financial institution, BR, and I'm sure you can figure who those are. Okay. Um, and of course a certain chocolate company. Okay, and we're going to get into all that and more. But first off, I want to thank Eric for being here and for putting up with this because he is literally in the dark about this. And I really just want to see everybody's reaction. Either you all are going to be able to think a little bit more in depth and a little bit wider of a viewpoint of looking at things and questioning everything, like I tell you, um, or you're going to think I'm completely nuts. And if either one's fine with me, either one is fine with me. I'm a Native American. We're all a little nuts, anyways. So, but that being said, Eric, how are you doing, brother?
I'm poopered, but I'm here. I'm sorry I'm not in the chats, everybody. I'm catching the last few minutes of the game. We're down 27-21. So that's why I'm not in the chat. But it's good to see you guys. Everybody joined my live a little bit ago. Thank you so much for the very first episode of the book club. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm not doing too bad. I'm hanging in there.
Good, good. All right, we are going to get into the thick of it because I don't know how today is going to go with technical issues and stuff. So, and as soon as they find out what I'm talking about, they might even just shut me down. So, you know what? It is what it is. Okay, and this is stuff that I have been researching for quite a long time. You all know that I have been researching the spiritual connection with water to everything. And I found the connection with it with missing people. I found the connection with it with spiritual power and awakeness, and even cryptids. Okay. And the energy fields that we have and how important water is, the water connection to paranormal, whether it's through flowing water that creates energy for paranormal investigations, or whether it's through thunderstorms with lightning and rain that creates the energy levels to talk to the spirit world. Okay, so we all know those common connections. All right, but I'm taking it a little further, guys. I'm taking you and I'm grabbing you by the ankle and I'm pulling you down that rabbit hole, whether you want to or not. Okay, your brains are going to get a thorough um, beat down tonight. Okay. So, Carl, I know you're in the chat. Corey, I know you're in the chat, and everybody else that's in there, Marcy and everybody, you are all going to have a mental breakdown by the time I'm done. I guarantee it. Okay. When I tell you what I have been researching, it's going to blow everybody's mind. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to just go ahead and get into it. Okay. Water. Okay. Water to Native American people, to us indigenous people, it's a very, very sacred thing. Okay. Water is literally life. Okay. It's literally the giving resources that gives us our cleansing, it communicates us with our Tunkashila, our grandfather. It communicates through Inipi, through the sweat lodge, through the mist that rises when we pour the water onto the hot rocks and the stones. It's grandfather's breath. It's the creator. It's Wankantanka talking to us through the conduit of the mist, okay, through water, okay. This is a given. In Cherokee ceremony, I've told everybody about, if you haven't, in past podcasts, about the connection to water with the seven blessings ceremony. Okay. Now, the seven blessings ceremony is where you go down and submerge yourself in water like you're being reborn 7 times in a row, completely submerged. Okay. Or you can stand in the shower and do it, by putting water over your head and letting it come down over you and closing your eyes and raising your hands to the east and facing the east and saying a prayer for someone or something else other than yourself. Okay. Other than yourself. Okay. Unconditional love. There's the connection with Native Americans. Okay. The good of all outweighs the good of one. Okay. And that's the lesson we're going to learn today. All right. We need to realize the connection and how sacred that connection is to water. It's literally the sacred hoop of the indigenous cultures around the world. Okay. And everybody should treat it as such. Okay. It's not a tool to be used to manipulate humanity. Okay. And unfortunately, in today's world, it has been. Okay. And we're going to get into a little bit of that later on, too. But for right now, I want to talk about the spirituality of water and the connection to you, to me, to my ancestors, and to my future generations. Okay. So, Carl, hold on. Urso, hold on. It's going to be a wild ride. Roxanne, I hope you got your teeth in and buckle down because it's going to be wild. Okay. Water. When we do Inipi ceremonies, we are literally going into the sweat lodge with the mindset and the belief that we are going within our earth mother's womb. Okay. We are literally, Unreal, good to see you. We are literally going into our Mother Earth's womb, okay, to conduct a cleansing ceremony, a purification ceremony, to send our prayers up to the Creator, okay, to Wankantanka, the Great Spirit, okay. And the whole premise of it is to make everything in our universe, in our realm that we live in, all the directions, the above, the below, the within, the without, the north, the south, the east, the west, every direction that there is, we bring into that ceremony and into those prayers that go up into the mist to our Creator. Okay. And that's the whole premise of a sweat lodge. Okay. It's to cleanse, purify, and for prayers to go to the Creator. Okay. In the makeup of our Mother Earth's womb. Okay. Now, with my people, we have a creation story where we come from the earth. Okay. And several other cultures out there have the same belief. So, there's even, I think it's the Klamath people on the West Coast that have a belief that Crow actually talked them out of the caves within the earth, within Mother Earth's womb, to come to the surface and to live upon the surface. Okay, so there's that connection to the womb. Okay, but I want you to think about this. Okay, here's where I'm going to mind melt your brains. Okay, what do they do in Christianity and most other religions in the world? You get christened or baptized with what? With water. When you're submerged within the water and you're raised out of the water, you are having a rebirth. Okay, you are literally being reborn, whether it's spiritually or not. Okay, you are literally coming out of Mother Earth's womb the very first time, just like when we come out of the sweat lodge. Every religion in the world has that connection. Okay, now here's where it gets spicy. Okay, everybody talks about death. Okay, well, I want you to realize death is not a thing. Believe it or not, death is definitely not a thing. Okay, when we actually leave this body, it's a birth. It's literally a birth. You are leaving what the Creator created, which is literally the womb of the universe, known as the Garden of Eden. Everybody's wondered where the Garden of Eden is for all these thousands upon thousands of years. Well, you're living in it. Okay, you're living in a biblical described, scripture described, and other books describe it too, and tablets of basically the sacred feminine. Okay, now I'm going to step on a lot of people's beliefs, but this is not necessarily. This is strictly my research. Okay, and what I have found is that when we leave this body, we are merely, my father always told me, and my uncles always told me growing up, when we leave this body, it's merely a change of world. It's not a death. Everybody assumes that because we leave this body behind, that it's a death. But what I've found out through my research and my over 60 plus years of living in this body is that when we leave this body, it's birth. It is literally being born, and we have the decision to either go with our creator, the source, the creator of everything, and live forever amongst the heavens, okay, which is claims in the Bible, or we have the opportunity to not and come back in to be recycled soul wise. Okay, now certain individuals and organizations, whatever you call them, captains of industries, fallen angels, they tend to control this world. Okay, so they want you to come back. Okay, they want you to come back. So there is a description in the Bible: the waters above, the waters below, the firmament. If you actually physically look at that, okay, now here I'm going to put a picture up on the screen, and it's going to have multiple pictures, in a row, but you'll have the gist and the idea of what I mean. This is what they describe, okay, and you can see up above with the Hindu one, the Norse one, and all that, even the Egyptian one, it centers around the sacred feminine. Okay, the tree of life, the sacred turtle, which is a Native American belief. The Seneca people believe that we are literally on Turtle Island. I mean, it's literally, that's what America is. America is basically a big turtle. And what I'm trying to get across here is the fact that the waters above, separated by an alleged firmament, okay, and I'm using the word alleged because I don't want anybody to think that I'm a flat earther, okay, but separating us in a fishbowl, basically, from the waters above to the waters below, okay, which is the descriptive design of the womb of the sacred feminine. Think about it, okay? We are literally in a world or a realm that is made up of sacred feminine medicine, okay? The sacred feminine, and it's sacred feminine is in a lot of details and a lot of old world beliefs, okay, including Freemasonry, okay, which I'm not going to get in depth into that, but when it comes down to it, the world that we live in has different levels, like I've always said, okay. The very, very highest level, the highest level we can go in our atmosphere without being in outer space, okay, as NASA likes to call it, okay. That is the birth, okay. Literally, that is the birth, okay. And what I mean by that is that when we die and our soul goes through the changes it's supposed to while we're in this body and going through the guidance and the learning process that we are supposed to learn while we're here in this avatar body, this physical flesh and bone body, if we achieve that enlightenment enough, we can be reborn and be with the creator in the heavens, okay, which is literally outer space, okay, which is the waters above, okay. When you look at the original picture that I had up here, look at the Navajo and the Incan design of the earth, okay, and you'll see what I mean about you turn it sideways, you're literally looking at the sacred feminine with the belly of a pregnant woman. Think about it. We are her children, created by the creator, by the source. Okay. And it says in Genesis that he is the creator. It doesn't call him anything but the creator in Genesis. And it's been interpreted as the word God. Okay. Which I will assume that that's fine. But if you think about it, literally everything that is birthed in this world is birthed within Mother Earth's womb. Literally, we are living in Mother Earth's womb. We're living in the universes and the multiple dimensions and all that. We are literally the center point. We are literally the birthing place for everything. Everything. Why do we think that these craft are coming out of the water? Because they live here too. Because they haven't ascended enough spiritually to go to the heavens. They haven't ascended enough intellectually and spiritually and been taught enough in the eyes of the creator to be able to go on. Okay. Now, there are some beings that can travel to and from the heavens, but it depends on the level of the heavens. Okay, because there's only one level of the heaven that is above the firmament, and that is the kingdom of God, his throne, okay, which is the waters above the firmament. You see where I'm going with this? So when we leave this body, our our soul is literally given a choice. We can either go and spend it with our creator for eternity in the heavens above the firmament, or we can come back and be recycled until our soul learns the process it's supposed to learn. Does that make sense to anybody? Now, then you take into consideration how often water is a part of our lives. What's the first thing that gives way on the birth of a child? A woman's water breaks. Same thing with Mother Earth, guys. Same thing with Mother Earth. God created, the Creator created Eden, and we're within it. We are literally within it. But like humanity always does, humanity always seeks to destroy itself because it's usually the more successful or powerful people in powerful positions that control the masses of humanity. Okay. And they tend to get stuck in this vicious loop every 3,000 years or so, 3,500 years or so. And it resets itself time and time and time again. Okay. So consider that too. Okay. Now that's the spiritual aspect of it. Okay. So when we talk about how everything's connected in the web of life or the sacred hoop as indigenous people, we are literally talking from the viewpoint of we are living in the womb of our Mother Earth. Okay. We are part of her just as much as she is part of us. That's why we have a reverence or respect and walk in reverence for everything. That's why we lay down tobacco on water for blessings of safe passage and for blessings of having the refreshment of the life-giving force of the water. That's why we do these ceremonies with water. That's why people go missing around water. Think about it. Maybe those people reached enlightenment enough to ascend. Even children can ascend. They're innocent after all. Now, that's the spiritual aspect that I wanted to bring forth tonight. Okay. I'm not saying that Christ doesn't exist. I'm not saying that God isn't God. I'm not saying any of that. Okay. I'm a firm believer that Jesus Christ is Lord, that Yahuwah is Lord. Okay. That through his stripes we are healed, that we can't get to the kingdom of our Father except through Christ. I'm a believer of that. But at the same time, I'm also a believer of my own indigenous culture. Okay. And not one is going to sway the other. If anything, one and the other combined is going to make my faith even stronger. Think about it. Now, what's the question again? Let me see the question again, Eric.
We actually got two of them. I've been starting them so we can go to them.
Okay.
The first one, oops. I started the wrong one on that one. So I'm going to take that off. So I'm going to have to go back and chat. So that's the latest one there. I'm going to have to go up because Urso had a question. And for some reason, I started the wrong one.
I'm trying to understand and find anyone else that has experience of our company communicating amongst each other. I'm talking different
Yeah,
kinds. I
I was
don't understand. Yeah, if you can interpret that, I don't know how good my eyesight is to read that. It's real small on my screen.
yeah. Hey, Urso, if you can repost your question, I couldn't find it. Um, like I said, I accidentally started the wrong one. I think it was you who had that question, wasn't it? Yeah, I was trying to understand her question too. Sorry, Shelley, you're gonna have to ask that in a way where we can understand it a little bit better. I apologize.
I don't believe, and that's the difference between a spirit and a soul. Um, Unreal. I saw that briefly. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, but I did see it. The spirit is different. Okay, when our spirit can attach itself, just like we talked about a couple podcasts ago about how animals and wolves and stuff can imprint on people. Well, our spirits can do that with people, and not only people because of um of memory, okay, of memory of the spirit of that person, not of the physical form of that person. So our spirit can get stay here if it wants to, but our soul, which is separate from our spirit, goes on to be with the creator, okay, to be with God, the heavenly father, the heavenly host, whatever you want to call him, okay. So if I read that statement correctly, I hope that answers that.
I found his question. He Urso asked, "Hasn't the demiurge hijacked and created a mirror image of reality?"
That is a Gnostic belief, yes. And when you think about it, okay, here's how you have to look at everything right now. Okay. And I'm not saying, put everything in all your eggs in one basket. I'm letting you all just do your own interpretation. I'm really telling you from what I've learned, okay? And when you deal with the Gnostic belief and the demiurge, you might as well label him also Lucifer, um, Satan, the devil. Okay, you can even label him as far as being some of the other gods throughout. Like Mars, Apollo.
Loki.
You can go on and make that connection through all of those beliefs and stick it into the same profile as the demiurge. Okay, because like the Bigfoot naming, I believe that they're pretty much the same around the world, but everywhere you go, there's a different description. Here in America, I think we have between America and Canada, we have over 350 descriptive words for the name of Bigfoot. So why wouldn't we have possibly the same amount for a false god that rules this world and tries to trap the souls here to take and drain the energy off of, or to use them to keep their whatever monopoly they've got going. Okay, literally, you know. So it's the same principle. It really is. To me, it is. Nighthawk, what do you think the Navajo view of our death? We leave
Our
our
death.
bad, take it with us. And that's the same principle. That's the same principle what I just got done talking about with the spirit and the soul. Okay. We live in a duality world. Okay. And what I mean by that, some of us are made strictly of the light. Okay. Some are made strictly of the dark. Okay, because you can't have one without the other. Okay, in a duality world, you can't have the light without the dark. You can't have the good without the bad. Okay, that's just the way of it. It's the way that the demiurge and the false god of this world has faked humanity out all these thousands of years over and over again. Okay, so what we need to discern is literally the spirit. It's kind of like the old Native American story about the young warrior going to the elder and asking the elder, why do I feel this way? Why am I so angry and all that? And the elder tells him, you got two wolves inside you, one good, one bad, And the young brave says, well, which one do I know it's going to win? And the elder tells him, whichever one you feed the most. That is literally the way we have to look at this life. Okay, this body, we are here. Our soul is here as a learning process. Okay, literally. All right. And until we get to that certain point where we are enlightened enough to move on and be reborn out of this body and out of Mother Earth's womb to be with our Creator in the heavens, we're going to come back and learn it over and over again until we get it right. And that's the whole thing too with what Jesus was saying, why he was saying that, the Father is in him and he is, of the Father. He is literally telling you, you have to have a starting point. Okay. And the same principle goes with the medicine wheel with our people. Okay. You have to have a starting point to learn what you're supposed to learn spiritually in this world. Okay. Literally. All right. And if you can't learn the right way for your soul to mature and to experience things, both the good and the bad, because you're going to have the good and the bad because it is a duality world. Okay. Literally. All right. And those people that are in control, those fallen ones that are in control of this world, those false manipulative God that is in control of this realm right now is going to do everything in its power to keep you here. Whether you call him the devil, whether you call him Satan, whether you call him the demiurge, whether you call him Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, he's going to do everything in his power to keep you here, your soul here. But here's the thing. Can he really keep your soul? No. No, he can't. No. And he knows that. So that's why he deceives you every chance he gets to think you are having a good life. He can leave the cell door open, like I've said 100 times on social media, and you'll never even know you're in a prison. Never. Our duality world, like I said, is a learning process. It's a process of being able to interpret the dark and the light. Okay? Literally. Okay? Now, when we think about duality, we don't think about people, and some of us and I'm not naming any names because I know there's a couple of you in the chat that you probably don't realize it, but you have both dualities. Your souls are both. You're the light and the dark. And you know why you're that way. You're that way just like I'm that way. Okay? Because you speak no matter what you say, you know you have to get the words out. Okay? I don't want to use the term influencer, but you're a person that basically the light respects you and lets you speak even in times when your darkness speaks. Okay. Now, how do you know if you have both? If you don't feel comfortable in one or the other solely. Okay. That's how you know. All right. Now, getting back to the whole water thing. The water, when you're raised from baptism in Christianity, you're being reborn. You're actually born again. Okay. When we are, and Eric, you know this, being a worshipful master, there's a certain part of our process that we're reborn. Okay. And it's the same thing through religions around the world. You see, the darkness that controls this world, this realm, he's going to deceive you. Every chance he gets, he's going to deceive you. He's going to use his tried and tested ways through thousands and thousands of years and thousands of recycled souls to deceive you. Okay? He's going to pit you against each other. He's going to make you think that every religion except the one that you believe in is the right way. When actuality, as long as you believe in the Creator and you know for a fact that heaven is real, then you're going to have the opportunity to be there. Okay? There is. I was watching a show earlier today too, and I studied a little bit too on it. There are certain pastors out there right now, and I really hate to say this. I'm not going to name names, but one of them just got busted in Florida recently. Him and his cohort living in $1 million mansions, flying in private planes and jets, driving expensive cars, having multiple $1 million mansions. That's not what Christ meant. That's not what the Creator expected his prophets to do. That's not what Jesus came here to teach everybody what to do. Okay? He came here literally, first off, to teach you that the strongest, most powerful force in the whole universes, in the whole levels of this realm, is unconditional love, is self-sacrifice. Why do you think it states that in the Bible that if you refuse to take the mark of the beast, you're going to be unalived? Think about it.
So more to be.
So exactly. And if you look at it, at this walk in this life, no matter what religious belief you are, no matter what blood you are, okay, you can be indigenous, First Nations like myself, you could be Irish, you could be, Italian, it doesn't matter. Whatever bloodline you are, if you literally walk in this world with a reverence for everything and a respect for everything, especially the water, because the water is the key. Water is the only way to get from point A to point B, folks, to leave the womb of Mother Earth and move on. You're not going to die. No such thing as death. I'm a firm believer of that now more than anything after my research. Okay? There is no such thing as death. It's merely a change of worlds, like my father and my uncles told me. Literally, that's all it is. And Corey,
Like
I know
the
you know.
wise words.
Yep.
Like the wise words of Peter Pan, death is just another adventure.
In fact,
Like my great grandpa used to say.
I don't even use the term death, you know.
Yeah, like my great grandpa used to say, you learn something until the day you die, and even during death, you still learn something new.
Exactly. And you do. This whole process, okay, starting to lose my eyesight. This whole process is a continuation, and what we literally are doing is we're teaching our souls what we need to learn to ascend. Okay. And obviously people that do a lot of bad crap in this world are going to have the lower vibration. They're not going to ever reach the enlightenment they need to be to leave this realm, and they're going to be the first ones to be cycled back through. Okay. Unfortunately, that's the way it is until they realize from all their mistakes that they made throughout the multiple lives that they have, that they need to correct themselves. Okay. And start sacrificing for the good of the people. Okay. For the good of the creator, for what the creator wants. Okay. For what God, the Heavenly Father, wants. Okay. The source is the source. Okay. There's only one source of creation, and he made the womb of Mother Earth. Okay. And yes, it's been taken over by some dark, malevolent energies, beings, whatever you want to call them, false gods, fallen angels, I don't care what you call them, the devil, Lucifer, Satan, his minions, the it doesn't matter what you call it. Okay. They're dark entities that have taken over this world and made it a false world to keep you under the belief that you are going to be kept here. Okay. And you don't have to be. Okay. The only one that can the only one that can claim your soul legitimately is the one that created it. That's the only one. Don't be coerced into all this BS about, oh, they sold their soul to the devil, and all this other crap. No, they didn't sell their soul. They can't sell something they don't own. The devil can't buy a soul that he can't buy because he doesn't have an ownership of it, no matter what agreement they make. No matter what blood contract, no matter how many generational contracts, no such thing. They can manipulate you to make you thinking that it's true, but It's not. So, and that's just from what I've learned. Now, I'm gonna is if there's any other questions, I'm gonna take it a little bit further than that, okay? Because
I
I'm gonna
think I
start
figured
getting
out, Shelby.
into what's that?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Shelly. She's asking if we can communicate with the dead and the near human entities and stuff like that. If I'm wrong, Shelly, let me know. But that's kind of what I'm um, gathering from that
You
comment.
can
Which, yes, yeah,
you can communicate to whatever realms and lives and souls or whatnot, whatever you want to call it. You can communicate to whatever you want to when you reach a certain point. And once you get to that spiritual point, you're going to be so close to that final enlightenment that it's going to be, you're going to see a lot of things opening up, a lot of things happening around you that you never experienced before. Okay, a lot of us, we go through this world, with blinders on because we all assume that it's because of what we can see and what we hear. Okay, and it's true. Okay, we are literally using 430 to 770 terahertz for the human eye. That's like 0.065% of the spectrum. Okay. Our hearing is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's another 0.045 of the actual spectrum of hearing. So we're not taking in everything because a certain malevolent deities or energies or beings, whatever you want to call them, has manipulated that. Okay. They've limited our ability to enhance our learning process while we're here. Okay. That's why Christ, when he came here, he said, you literally have to follow unconditional love. You have to follow the process of starting out as the son to become the father. Okay. And that's literally the process that life takes. Take, for instance, the medicine wheel. First quarter of the medicine wheel is the seed. The second quarter of the medicine wheel is the sapling. The third center of the quarter of the center of the medicine wheel is the adult tree. And the fourth quarter of the medicine wheel is the aged tree that drops the seed again. It's the circle. Okay. You literally have to start out as the child, the son or the daughter, to become the father or be with the father. Okay. That's literally how you have to interpret it. You are here for that learning process. If you don't reach the goals of that learning process that Christ was trying to teach everybody over 2,000 years ago, then the odds of your ascension, unless you ascend to a different level of consciousness in the heavens, which there are several levels, okay? We've talked about them before. But it's literally the spiritual process of the soul. Okay. And that's why I've started to say that there is, there is literally no such thing as death. It is literally just being reborn. Okay. You're being born from the womb of Mother Earth, just like when we come out of the sweat lodges and stuff after ceremony. It's coming out of the womb. Okay. That's literally the whole premise of the sacred feminine. Da Vinci knew it. And if Da Vinci knew it, A lot of the other prominent people back in those days knew it too, like the Vatican. Okay. Why do you think the Vatican is hiding everything? Why do you think they want the Vatican wants to be the one world religion? Okay. They want everybody to be Christian. Okay. Now hear me out. Don't 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 kill me yet, okay, with the comments, but hear me out. When the Bible King James Version was rewritten, they left out a lot of stuff. Okay. They edited a lot of stuff. They changed a lot of wording. Okay. And they did that specifically because the Roman paganism didn't become Christians. They just went underground. Okay. So the darker, malevolent, what you call the Black Pope. Okay. Because there's a black pope and there's a white pope, because we live in a world of what? Duality. Okay. So you can't have one without the other. And they know that. Okay.
Yin and
That's why,
yang.
exactly. And that's why we are where we are with society today. You know, we have certain bloodlines that are connected to these dark forces that have manipulated humanity for way too long. They don't like it when I talk, and I'm surprised they haven't shut me down already, but it is what it is. So that's my spiel on the spiritual part of the water connection to everything. Now we're in literally Mother Earth's womb right now. When we die, we are born. We don't die, we're born. Okay. It's simple. Okay. So here's the next connection. BG. Let me see the chat. Who knows what BG means as far as a person goes?
I do.
Who is it, Eric?
Rhymes with seal and rhymes with Bates.
Okay. Yep. BG and BR, which is a very prominent, the richest financial institution in the world that actually owns a third of the world's governments. And a certain chocolate company that we discussed a couple weeks ago wants the water rights. Humanity has no right to water, is what the CEO of Nestle's once said. You have no right to water. You have no right to be baptized. You have no right to bathe. You have no right to drink. You have no right to refresh yourself in the coolness of water on a hot day. You have no right to water, is what the CEO of Nestle's has said time and time again. Why do you think they have said that? Because he that controls the water can control humanity, and the extent that humanity is allowed to continue. Okay. Now, take this into consideration. They had this big meeting in a certain capital city today in a certain country that starts with an A. Okay. And, at that meeting were certain prominent individuals of, say, the technology industry. Okay. One of those individuals was BG. Okay. Others were prominent ones of several other technology companies that are in control of artificial intelligence. Okay. You know, they tell you that they're building these quantum computer processing centers. Okay. But what they don't tell you is the volume and the volume of water that they need to keep those technologies cooled down. When it comes down to it, certain elitist bloodlines that are in league with the dark forces of this world are going to pick AI over you and me. Why? Because they don't need us if they have AI. They only need a few. Think about it. They only need a few. So all those billions and billions of gallons of water that go from supplying drinking water to small towns wherever these processing centers, these quantum computer centers are built, they're going to take those billions of gallons of waters every year from the drinking supply of humanity that is living right next door to them. That's just one of the reasons they want to control the water. And it just figures that the one person that literally almost started the entire technology industry in the 60s with the initials BG is heading it. And he was at the so-called White House or Capitol today with other tech giants. What do you think's going to happen? Just saying. I'm just saying that there is the connection. So when you're filling up that glass, or when you're drinking a cup of coffee, like I have to, I want you to remember how precious that water is. I want you to take that water before you make it into coffee and before you bathe with it. I want you to talk to it just like you do a plant. You know, when you talk to a plant and you give a plant love, you get a lot more fruit and vegetable off the vine. Okay. Because it has consciousness. It's called a reverence and a respect for all things, which goes back to what? The circle of life, the sacred hoop, the medicine wheel. Okay. Everything is connected. The more respect and positivity you put into the water and to the plant life, the more respect and good energy you're going to get out of it. Okay. And as long as you can put that good vibration within the water and within the plants, you'll never go wrong. See, they took that away from us. They literally took that away from us. They took that away because they knew that if you knew that you could have the abilities to enhance water just by speaking, or enhancing your plants just by producing better crops and better yields by talking to it or playing music to it, okay, that they could have more ways to manipulate you and control you. And that's the whole process in a nutshell. You know, we have so much. We need to start making up lost time, people. You really do. You know, my time here is limited anyways. I'm fine with what I've been doing, and I've been talking to water every day that Every time I go to even make a cup of coffee, I'll literally talk to the water in the cup. Sounds weird, but you know what? It works. We have a tomato plant outside that my youngest son has been taking care of keeping the bugs and stuff off of it. But every day that I'm out there, I'll literally talk to it. I'll talk to the blossoms on it, and you know that plant has produced more tomatoes than any number of tomato plants any year I can remember. Literally, big hardy tomatoes too, not just these little minute things. So when I say you need to walk with a reverence for everything and respect everything, make sure you're giving those positive vibes to those things in your life that sometimes we take for granted, like the water and the plants, even the insects. I got a big female praying mantis that has is looking for a place to put her eggs and stuff for next year. And she's been hanging out in our screened-in porch, and a second one just showed up on the outside of the screen porch, and I talk to them every day. And if you've ever talked to a praying mantis, they'll look at you like they understand you. Okay, they will literally listen to you because it's not the fact that they're understanding your words, but they're feeling your vibration that you're putting out. Okay, so if you take that positivity and you just introduce it slowly into your life, into everything that you do, whether it's working with water, whether it's, whatever it is, whether it's growing flowers, growing, vegetables, whatever you need to do it. It's just the way of it. It's the way it's meant to be. But when it comes down to controlling the waters, Mr. BG and a certain financial company and certain chocolate company, they're going to try everything in their power to control the water because they know full well that AI is going to be so quantum that technology is going to need massive amounts of water to cool it. And they're going to draw that water from the water supplies around the small towns that these quantum data processing centers are built in. So they're literally going to steal the water, the drinking water, and the water supplies for everything from the people that live around them. It's not right. But that's doing it. What do you think, Eric?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get caught up on the comments. So I got a bunch of stuff going on. Uh, well, hey, look at it this way. In most cultures, predominantly Native American, water is the blood of Mother Earth. So then you got to start breaking down other things. Yes, we come from Mother Earth, exactly. Most of our body is water. Um, most of the things on this planet, including us, need water to survive. Water is a conductor of energy. Water is a solid. Water is a lubricant. Water is an energy conductor. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all these different things in water. So if you got evil trying to take over something, let's look at it a military tactic here. So, we'll go into a hypothesis. I'm the evil entity, and I'm wanting to take out my enemy's compound. What is the number one thing that I'm going to focus on? I'm going to focus on their water supply. They can't survive more than 3 days without water. What can you do with that water supply? You can put chemicals in it, which alters the state of it. You can use it to enter their compound. You can block it off, which allows them not have it. Um, you can put things, biological things in it, which alters the chemical reaction of it. The list goes on and on and on of different things. The fact thing is, all things that are alive revolves around water.
Exactly. Exactly. And then you think about the whole process of the sacred feminine with being pregnant. You know, the first thing that goes on when a baby's, coming forth to this realm is the water. The water breaks. Okay. The same thing with Mother Earth, with our connection to the sacred hoop, to everything in this life. Okay. Our connection to the Father, the Heavenly Father, the Creator, the Source. Um, everything is connected through water, through literally everything. Okay. And you can't have the perfect world. Okay. You can't have, and what I mean by that is, even though we are living literally in the womb of Mother Earth and literally the Garden of Eden, okay, because we are literally the center point of everything else out beyond our lands, okay, our world, our earth. Um, you can't have strictly the light, okay, and that's where the whole duality thing comes into play. Okay, you have to have the light and the dark, and because that's we wouldn't have a complete learning process for us to ascend to a higher level of heaven without that process, if that makes sense. Okay. And I'm not saying that, when we leave this body that we're that we die and we just go to heaven and that's it, or we go to hell. That's a belief that only you can determine. All I'm saying is what I have found through my research, that death is not a thing. That when we leave this disease susceptible body, this flesh and blood and bone body, it's a rebirth. We are literally being birthed out of the womb of this realm, which is basically the the birthing of our souls to heaven. That's all I'm saying. And the connection that you can make too with a lot of these missing people around water. Um, why certain people are found in, unalived in less than 3 inches of water. Okay. Because water is a sacred connection to everything positive and everything negative. Okay. And the one thing that I have come to realize too is that water is one of the biggest portal makers that this realm has ever not known. The energies, the memory that water can retain, the the regenerative properties that water can do. Why do you think during World War II Hitler put fluoride in water? Because he wanted to dumbify people. He knew it. All of his paranormal people and supernatural people that he sent out around the entire world in 1937 to 1940, and then on even during World War II, what do you think they figured out? They figured it out too. They knew it back then, that water was the connection to everything, literally. in any form whatsoever, whether it's rain, whether it's fog, whether it's mist, whether it's a lake, an ocean, whether it's you're taking a shower or a bath, whether you're being baptized, you're being reborn with water. If you knew that, how sacred water was to humanity, when certain individuals and corporations wanted to put fluoride in your water and other poisons like ferric chloride or um, potassium permanganate, you know, there's so many chemicals that goes into the drinking water that comes out of your tap. Unless you have well water, you don't know what you're drinking. You're drinking a chemical cocktail is what you're drinking. You're taking a bath with a chemical cocktail, or you're brushing your teeth with a chemical cocktail every single second you use the water from a tap. Who do you think thought of that stuff? Nice guys? No. Nice guys don't think like that. Nice guys think like Christ. Nice guys think like the number of gifted people that have been trying to tell people for thousands of years to wake up, that there is that connection. And that connection is water, and you're the key. Think about it. It is what it is. And it's just surprising to me how one individual with the initials BG can assume that he has the rights to own all the world's water supply. People like him don't do that without a financial reason. So, when you make that connections to all the quantum data centers that are going to be built all around the world, I want you to watch the small towns around those quantum computer centers that are being built. Watch them. See how fast they die out. See how fast their wells dry up. See how fast their water supply dries up. It'll start with sprinkling bans. It'll start with rationing your water supplies. Then they'll start bringing in bottled water that is treated by what company? Could it be Nestle's? Think about it. The same company that puts lithium in bottled water. Oh, did I say that? Sorry, I didn't mean to, but it's true. Think about it. And then you have the financier of them all with, the financial institution, BR. I'm not going to say their name, but they're BR. We all know who they are. That owns a third of all the countries and the governments in the world. Think about it. Man. Not good, folks. It's not good. It's not looking good for us at all. It really isn't. Yeah, Candy, I agree. I saw that. Thank you for putting that in capitals, by the way. I appreciate that because that makes it easier for me to see. So I got these little letters on the screen that I'm trying to read as they go by. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it all makes sense. Every time we give up and they separate us with keeping us positioned against each other. Politics is a big one. Okay, I hate to say this. I wasn't going to go there. I think politics is the biggest part of it. Separation. I think religion is the second one. And then I think education and social status is the third. Those are the three main separating factors that they try to keep everybody in this world, not just America, not just Mexico, not just, Brazil, and not just Great Britain, and not just, Ireland and all that. It's the same. It's the three main factors they want to separate us. Okay. The same reason that there's so many different languages in the world. It's a form of separation. That's all it is. What language do you think the first humans that were created and designed spoke? It was vibration. It wasn't a written language. It was a vibrational language. Which, if you think about it, that makes sense, because if you're living in Garden of Eden, the positive vibrations that you put out to the flora and the fauna and the water, the better your Garden of Eden is going to be. So I'm just saying, that's just my 2 cents on it. I told you guys I was going to blow your mind tonight. And, the whole fact that the world that we live in, that this world that we live in, being designed like the sacred feminine, to be designed as the womb of Mother Earth, and that when we leave this body, how it's actually being born and leaving this world, leaving this realm and moving on, that it's not death. That speaks volumes. But anyways, I just wanted to blow everybody's mind tonight. And let me get your final thoughts or final questions, and we'll move on from there. And thank God the internet has held up.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think I'm caught up now. I'm handling a couple different things going on, so I think I'm getting figured out what's going on here. So I think I'm caught up on everything now. We're having issues. I think it's the only thing I can think of. It's the internet. I think mods. I think that's what's going on. It might be the internet. I don't know, unless somebody's doing something. I'm not saying nothing. So, but I've been sitting here trying to figure out, and pretty much based on, I think it's something going on with the internet. That's why it's having that reaction. So sorry, I was busy there for a little bit. I wasn't trying to ignore you. I was just handling a couple different things at one time. I lost my train of thought now. Well, so you was talking to Candy. You was talking about the different images of Earth earlier. Of course, some of them, like the Norse. You got hold on. Yggdrasil, the tree of life, which so many things are talking about. So many cultures talk about a tree of life. Yggdrasil holds the 9 realms on its branches. Its roots are filled or go down into Muspelheim and the land of the Norns, and also Jotunheim, the land of the giants, and that's where it feeds from. Everything is based on a lot of this stuff. So, what does trees need? It needs water. So you got the water feeding the tree of life. You got the planets all based off of water. The atmosphere's got water in it. Water is so many levels. I know you are, Candy. It's all good. So many different levels of water, different types of water. And like I've said before, water is the only element that can be a solid, liquid, and a gas, all at the same process.
Exactly.
So I mean that just shows you another uniqueness to it. So it's sacred. It's the native people will tell you do not throw stuff in the water because the water is sacred. It's the lifeblood of Mother Earth. It is the bringer of life. It is the taker of life. Water can heal you. Water can revive you. Water can also unalive you. Um, and so much life depends on it. Roots and water, exactly, Cam and Dad. Yes, he doke. Water is life. So I mean, so there's going to be a lot of spirits and tied to water, both the good and the bad. Well,
Well,
we'll
I'll
add a
go one
third.
step
And
further. I'd go one step further, Eric. I would go so far as to say that some of the marine life that you're seeing on a daily basis, even on video, could be even angelic in nature. As far as like the Fey spirit, or even even angelic spirit. How many times have you seen video of a dolphin coming to the rescue of a human?
well,
How many
yeah,
how many
I mean, and
videos?
there's
How many times have you seen a video coming, showing up on the internet of a dolphin helping a human being heal from water therapy? Think about it. Everything is connected to the sacred hoop of water. Okay, and water is part of that sacred hoop. So
yeah. Um, oh my God, I forgot what direction is blue. Uh, White, yellow. West is blue, yeah, west is blue. Correct, if I remember correctly on the medicine wheel. Um, what is
the
blue?
universal medicine wheel west is black.
Okay, black. For some reason, I thought north was black. Um,
No, north
anyways,
is white.
okay. Blue is an important color, and what does blue represent? The universal meaning of blue is water. You know, everybody associates blue with water. So blue is a sacred color. Um,
Do you know what the flag of the a certain New England indigenous nations tribe is? It's a complete blue background with the number 8 turned sideways as infinity. What do you think that they're saying to the public? They're saying that water is infinity. Water, the creator, is life. Literally.
yeah. So, I mean, and that's true. You look throughout the cosmos. I mean, there's water in the cosmos. There's literally water everywhere. So there has to be something to it, And Mother Earth is a living being. She is
Mm-hmm.
alive. Mother Earth is alive. Every single culture throughout history talks about how we come from Mother Earth. The Lakotas say that Mother Earth opened up and let the buffalo out. And then she opened up and let man out to hunt the buffalo. The buffalo is sacred. We come from Mother Earth. Okay. Norse mythology. He took a ash tree and elm tree and created man. In Christianity and Judaism, they talk about how he took the earth and breathed life into it to create man. Um, in Greek mythology, Zeus took clay, formed it into the shape of man, and breathed life into it. In Sumerian culture, they took the earth and mixed their DNA to create man. You're seeing a repetitive deal with we come from Mother Earth. But everything, I mean, there's clouds are water, air's got water, the atmosphere's got water, the ozone's got water. We got water on land. We got water on us, in us, around us. We're surrounded by water. in one
Exactly.
aspect, you can look at it, we are a fish too, just not as the fish in the concept that you think of. We're surrounded by water. Water
Exactly.
is everything.
Here's another one too. What do you think during the flood during the days of Noah? You know what happened to the daughters of man that were that procreated with the fallen angels? You know, and created the Nephilim race, and that's why the Creator flooded the world. Okay, what happened to them in the biblical text? They were said to be turned into what? Creatures of the water, which is mermaids.
Or
Okay,
sirens.
so
Yeah.
it's yeah, there is literally the biblical connection proving time and time again how sacred water is. And if we can just remember that in every form of walk in our daily lives, we can enhance that supernatural, that spiritual connection between our soul and the water. Because when we leave this body and are born and not dead, okay, our soul is going to go on and ascend. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. Water is very sacred and very special. So we can't let
I'll,
people like Mr. BG and BR and Nestle's own it and control it. We can't.
I'll take that even a step further. First Eve, Lilith, where was she found and cursed?
Mm-hmm.
In water. When when the end of times come, however you call it, Ragnarok, the last days, whatever it is, where is Yahuwah supposed to cross? The Tigris
Mm-hmm.
and the Euphrates. What is the
Mm-hmm.
Tigris and Euphrates? It's water.
What did Jesus walk
What
on?
did well yeah, what did Jesus walk on? What did Noah part to escape the slavery of the Egyptians? I mean, you're constantly seeing in all different kinds of stories where water plays a role in this stuff. You
Yep.
know, even
Yep.
us, we are so different than every other life form on this planet. We are so different. Technically, we are alienish compared to everything else on this planet, but we still need water, just
Yep.
like everything
Exactly.
else needs water. When
Exactly.
you go hunting, where's the best place to set up a hunting stand? It's going to give you the most success. Watering hole.
Game trails next to water.
See, once again, it's all there. I mean, it really is. Now, I remember one time I was
Yep.
riding my bike, and now I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to deny it. I did partake of the broccoli during this experience, but during this time,
I was
I
avoiding the
literally,
broccoli conversation.
I literally felt like there was a serpent. It had been doing a lot of raining, and so there was a lot of water in the ditches, and I literally was feeling something like a serpent trying to come up and get me and drag me in the water. And I was literally fighting this thing while on my bike, trying not to go in the water. But no matter what I did, something was pulling me and my bike towards that water. Now, you could say that may be the broccoli. I'm going to tell you now, folks, I've experienced a lot of stuff. Broccoli didn't have no effect on it. It literally was a serpent trying to pull me into that water.
Here's
And that
another
stuff
thing
does happen.
too. Here's another thing. Just real quick, I want to put this in there too before I get off of here. Um, what happens usually after somebody's missing and not found again, as far as missing people?
Mm.
It usually rains
Yeah.
or it
Yeah.
snows. Okay. It's always something dealing with water after someone disappears from this realm. Okay. I'm telling you, man, you'd be surprised the connection that water has to everything. So just saying.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, there's always a connection. So when you talk about serpents within the water, I believe you in that. I mean, one of the most famous stories of a serpent in water is Jormungandr, the world serpent. He was cast into the waters on Midgard by Odin. Jormungandr is the one of the sons between Loki, the trickster god, and the giantess Angerbotha. What did he grew so big? What did Odin have to do? Odin had to stick his tail in his mouth so that he would quit growing. When Jormungandr twists, what does he look like? He looks like an ape. But where's his
Yeah.
realm?
Well,
Water.
and you can use that same comparison, that same legend, to the biblical aspects of the Leviathan. You know, there is that type of a legend in most every culture in the world, dealing with water and a beast that is put within the water. Okay, so I mean, we can go on and on and on all night long with this, but I'm actually getting tired, and we got a show to do tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
Internet willing, and I'm surprised the internet has lasted as long as it has tonight. But I want to thank everybody. Thank you to the mods. Thank you for all the great conversations in the chat and the great questions. And question everything, guys. You have that right. That's what my brain does every day. And literally. So we need to question everything. So, and I think the history books need to be rewritten. Just saying.
Definitely.
So, with that being said, Eric, you want to go ahead and tell them what you got going on this weekend, and then we'll go ahead and close this out. Thank you, everybody in the chat again, and the mods. You guys are fantastic. Thank you.
If you guys missed it, I did the first ever the book club live show. We're starting with the very first book I wrote. I done the introduction, chapter 1 through 3, and we kind of talked about and discussed it, why things were written the way they do. So you can go on to YouTube and see that. I did that a couple hours before we went live on the Williams show. Tomorrow's campfire chats. If you want a safe place to share your experiences, join me on the campfire chats. You want to come on live, I'll bring you on live. If you want to just talk about it in chats, we'll talk about it in the chats. That was created by you, the subscribers. So that is your place to share your encounters. Sunday, as of right now, the plans are I'm going to be doing a show about nursery rhymes and the true meaning behind them. I've got some of the research done. I did re-hurt my knee Monday night, so I'm back to being healed up again. So hopefully I can get some of that research done as well. So that's what I got going on this weekend.
All right, everybody. Question everything. Do me that favor. All right. Please like, share this out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Make sure you check the bell icon. Okay. And if you haven't joined the channel, you might want to join, because I got some inside videos I'm going to be putting on the members only site. So you might want to check that out. We're going to get more in depth into a lot of this spiritual stuff. So it'll be a good thing. All right. As long as I have a breath, in a world based on duality and based on literally the foundation of water, which is the sacred conduit. Stay strong, stay faithful, and just question everything, guys. You have that right. Take care.
Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.
Through the mist we rise, a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage. found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate. In fields of valor, we elevate. As shadows loom, our spirits gleam. Brothers in arms, we are the dream. Fearless, we take the night with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity, our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. As dawn breaks, we know our name.